The Republican convention is officially underway. Reince Priebus made it so.
This convention will come to order.
That's Reince Priebus kicking off the Republican National Convention in Tampa. And what exactly is going to be happening there when Mitt Romney makes his speech? That's the big question. And to help us answer that, we've got Sara Murray of the Wall Street Journal. She joins us from Tampa, and there she is. Sara, what's Mitt Romney going to be trying to do? Who's he going to be trying to appeal to when he makes his speech?
Well, you know, this is the first kind of reintroduction of Mitt Romney since he closed this grueling primary where he, of course, was facing incoming fire from all of his opponents. And, you know, I think his speech is really important, but I think his wife's, Ann Romney's speech tonight is equally important because they're not only trying to show, here's Mitt Romney, a guy, you know, who has policy ideas, who you want to be your next president, who can turn the economy around, but here's Mitt Romney, you know, a guy that you can relate to in some capacity, whether it's as a husband or a father. And I think Ann is going to play a pivotal role in that in her speech tonight.
Now, the women's vote is critical to who gets to be next president. How is Mitt Romney going to appeal to the women's vote? Do we know that yet? We know it's important.
You know, we know that this is something the campaign is looking at, and obviously, you know, they see the same polls that we do. They're lagging very far behind. This is a crucial voting bloc. I think, you know, again, they've relied really heavily on Ann Romney, and they haven't really been able to hit the sort of sweet spot for how Mitt Romney, you know, the people who, you know, are voting, the guy who's the presidential candidate, they're not really figuring out how to get him to get the message across. I think the one way he's really talked about it is in the framework of the economy. You know, here's the unemployment rate for women. I want to help women entrepreneurs, that kind of thing. But I think everyone realizes they need to push it another step further if they really want to resonate and pick off some of that support for President Obama.
Now we're looking at live shots of the Republican convention now. Some bands playing some music there. Now also the base of the Republican Party needs to be energized, and as you mentioned, this primary process was not without its frictions. How is the Republican Party going to sort of energize that base and to get people to put differences behind them?
Sure. Well, I think the Paul Ryan pick was a big part of this. Obviously, you know, Paul Ryan is not necessarily the guy you're going to pick if your number one concern is appealing to independent voters. He has a very conservative governing philosophy, and he has very conservative policy priorities. And so I think you're going to hear a lot of that, obviously, in Paul Ryan's speech, you know, but also in Governor Romney's speech. And even if you just look at the GOP platform, I mean, their platform document sticks to all the traditional conservative positions in terms of defining marriage, in terms of, you know, being opposed to all different kinds of abortion. And I think that just looking at that document alone, you see that they're really out here trying to please, you know, the far right wing of this party.
Now, Chris Christie will be there at Tampa making a speech. What will his role be?
You know, Chris Christie is the kind of guy you want around to fire people up, and he has been a supporter of Mitt Romney. He's also offered a little criticism, but I think generally, you know, he's kind of a darling among conservatives. He's a fiery guy, you know, he speaks his mind, and I think that people are sort of looking forward to that. In the past, he's always been a huge draw on the campaign trail, and, you know, he was helping Governor Romney draw his largest crowds before we kind of got into this general election process where you know, before Romney was drawing crowds of thousands on his own.
Great stuff. Well, it sounds very, very, very exciting, and I hope you have a lot of fun down there now the storm seems to be veering away from Tampa. Thank you very much, Sara Murray of the Wall Street Journal.